So I'm with the leader of the CoFund people, and he is signing our document. But um, it's just really interesting to check the story of the Leonardo money. A year ago, they were all told on the news that they would be receiving the benefit of financial support, and currently they're in a situation where they can't even pay their water, they can't pay their rent. I've seen this situation from almost all the leaders that they cannot service their bills. So they have absolutely no money and no access to money because the government has a law which prohibits them from receiving money directly, although they can receive money as individuals, which makes things like microfinance and that sort of thing possible. But they cannot receive money directly, which is actually also, there's 1,000 ways around that. There's ways to transfer money in. But the point is that they're completely starved of money. And my constant complaint about that 3.4 or 3.6 million that was promised by Leonardo is the fact that none of the Indigenous have received it, but it was only allocated to 4 of the 10 nationalities as well, which was very divisive. But you know, if that money was given a year ago, why is the money not in the hands of the tribes who so desperately need it? These are people, they're strong people, they're strong characters. They've had to fight absolute extermination and ill health and devastation for so long, and now the co-founder chief has just explained to me there's 17 new developments planned for his land. His land is constantly shrinking as they take it to deforest for an African company doing palm oil, and they are also, there's 17 new oil developments. There's been a lot of gold mining. He sort of explained the history where they used to have thousands of people living through the jungle that were co-farm people, and the diseases from the white men, from just normal person-to-person diseases, and the diseases from the contamination have just literally exterminated them. This is a genocide. It is an extermination. There are 1,500 people left now, but what's really important to know is that these are the people with the legal right to protect this ecosystem, and if they are completely exterminated over the next 5 or 10 years, which is inevitable if this development is not stopped, then the world loses. The only existing law that can protect this ecosystem in the rainforest will eventually be exterminated. There are presidents who are seeking short-term resource value at the major cost of life for all people on Earth. So it's a really tragic situation right now. But I just think the investment of Leonardo has been either really irresponsibly made or really irresponsibly managed, and I think probably needs to be remedied. Actually, after this trip, I've spoken with all of the leaders, and there's 3.4 or 3.6 million, which would make a huge difference in all of their lives. But it just seems like this kind of group, these people without authority, have been taken to join this. From 4 different tribes have been taken to join a foundation, and the funds just don't appear. They've disappeared. Nothing's happening with them. Nothing's being done. No one's receiving any benefit, and everyone is in desperate need. But if you want to market yourself as the saviour of Indigenous people, or you want to market yourself as fighting for the rights of to stop industrial destruction, then I think it's imperative that you back that up with transparent action. If you voluntarily decide you're going to represent 10 nationalities, 11 with there's another story, but 10 nationalities of Ecuador, you need to deliver. It's just crazy. Anyway, this is Roberto. I just wanted him to speak a little bit about wondering where the Leonardo money is.
Preguntando dónde está la plata de Leonardo DiCaprio.
And how desperately it's needed.
Y qué tan necesaria es.
En la noticia que ha pasado en diferentes canales de aquí del Ecuador, conocemos que el fondo va a venir para nacionalidades de aquí de Sucumbíos, para Secoyas y Guaraní, Sionas y Cofanes. Pero realmente ese fondo no conocemos como nacionalidad. Yo como persona
me as a
como
person,
dirigente, representante legal de,
as a dirigent of, as a
los
legal
Cofanes,
dirigent of the Cofan people,
no hemos sabido, no
Legal
sabemos.
president.
legal president of Cofan,
Entonces,
we haven't been able
creo
to
que
see that
eso
money.
deben socializar
So
o
I think, yeah,
informar
we
a
have
todas
to
las
socialize
comunidades
that news
dónde
in
está
all the communities.
y qué van a hacer, porque
Where is that
ahorita
money and what they are going to do
como
with it?
organización COFAN no tenemos
Because right now,
ni para
as
el
Cofan
pagos básicos,
Association,
servicios básicos.
we don't have money to pay the basics bills, like
Estamos un poco preocupados para la sostenibilidad
we
de la
are a little
organización
worried because
y
we
para el
cannot sustain
fortalecimiento
the
de la
organization.
misma. Entonces yo creo que esto,
So I think
si ves, si conoces
if,
esta realidad, por favor,
if you see, if you know
infórmanos.
about this reality, please tell us something.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the question and that's what all the chiefs are asking. Where is the money, and what's it being used for, and why is the leadership structure why is the voted president, the voted leader of the Indigenous people not being respected and given control or participation with that money, and why hasn't it been seen as any value by any of the tribes? It's it's a question that we would like answered. It's a question that I've asked you, Leonardo, to answer for a really long time, because those of us who work here on the front line and risk everything and do all the work to actually fight industrial destruction, we don't tell stories and exploit the Indigenous people by using their photographs and stories to raise donations and then do nothing. We actually fight, and there's no support for that work. And there's no support for the Indigenous people, who are the people who do most of the fighting. I have been to thousands, well not thousands, but a lot of rallies of the Indigenous people, and they're absolutely fighting to protect this ecosystem for the entire world, and they're not supported at all, and they have absolutely no money. And somehow that needs to change.